Welcome to LCCAP Legacy, Decades of Dedication, the podcast that celebrates the incredible individuals who have shaped the heart and soul of the Lawrence County Community Action Partnership.
Each episode, we'll dive deep into the stories of those who have devoted their careers to making a difference, not just in our organization, but in the lives of the people we serve every day.
We'll uncover their journeys, explore the moments that inspire them, and highlight the lasting impact of their commitment to LCCAP's mission.
So whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or simply celebrate the amazing people who make LCCAP what it is, thank you for joining us.
This is LCCAP Legacy, Decades of Dedication.
Let's get started with today's guest. Hello and welcome to another episode of LCCAP Legacy, Decades of Dedication. I'm here with my two lovely co-hosts.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And we also have a very special guest with us here today. We have Vanessa Lovlie, who is the Special Projects Officer and the Transportation Director here at LCCAP. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have two separate titles. You're the Special Projects Officer and the Transportation Director. Could you tell us a little bit about what each of those roles entail and how you ended up with two titles?
Why, certainly. So I like to describe it that my LCCAP bigger agency title is Special Projects Officer. So that's sort of how I fit into the larger LCCAP. But then as far as ACTS Transportation, it is technically its own legal entity. It's a public transportation provider. And so I'm the director of that. So, and also the director of the school bus transportation. So that's where the director of transportation comes in. So.
And obviously you haven't always held two different titles. You know, you probably started out with one title. So take us back to the beginning of your time here at LCCAP. How did you get involved and what was your very first title?
Well, I actually started with LCCAP before it was even called LCCAP. Way back 1997, going into my junior year of college, and my senior year of college, I worked for a childcare center we had back then on Croton Avenue. And I don't remember my exact title, but I worked with the summer, the children that were there, school age summer program, I guess I should say. And of course, then my senior year, I went back to college and I graduated with a social work degree. And as part of my degree, I needed to do an internship. And I happened to, I was actually looking at internships that paid nothing. And of course, being a poor student, just getting out of college, I wanted to hopefully make something. And I heard that the same agency where I had worked in the summer had paid internships. And I applied. And my first, title here at Grant Street was housing intern. And I did that for 3 months and graduated officially, and then actually ended up in the transportation department. Kind of funny story. I never thought I would end up in public transportation or transportation. It's really not something anyone decides they want to do per se. And I was done with my housing intern and I needed a job. And Tom Scott, our CEO, was our CEO back then as well. And he called me into his office and said, we'd like to offer you, permanent employment, but we don't have any money in our housing department. Would you like to work in the transportation department with the ACTS system? And I wanted to say, absolutely not. But I needed a job and I liked the agency, so sure, I did. And pretty quickly, I ended up the supervisor of transportation, then the transportation coordinator. Under Angela Shawn was the director back then, and was here about 10 years. I did actually leave for close to 10 years and went and ran a few other public transportation properties and did some transportation consulting and transportation software, and then ended up back here in January of 2016 in my current role. So I know that was a lot, but LCCAP has been part of my life since I was, 19 years old.
Yeah, a big part of your life. That's truly amazing. I always love to hear everybody's stories, especially starting out like right after college or in college, interning. That makes it even more special. So Vanessa, what's a typical work day look like for you over at Axe Transportation?
Well, I'm sure you hear this from other people at LCAP, but my day doesn't typically go as planned. Best laid plans, they say. But I typically come in and start my day in what we call FICA. It's a quick operations meeting with John Craig, our school bus supervisor, Joe Zingaro, our shop manager, and Mike Pandis, our safety trainer. And that's really our quick opportunity to make sure that the operations side of the house is in order. Any maintenance, safety, any operational related situations are discussed, and the game plan for the day is set. And then I always stop in and check on dispatch, say good morning, see how things are going that way. And then by the time I get upstairs to my office, it's usually 9:30, quarter to 10, and then the real chaos begins. So, I have a lot of Zoom meetings, which thankfully after COVID, I don't have to leave the office as much, so can kind of get more done in same 7 hours, 8, 10 hours a day. But yeah, a lot of meetings, a lot of emails, a lot of Excel, but yeah, that's about it.
You have this joke, this running joke that you always say that you're a bus nerd. And I think it's funny because obviously you know a lot about transportation. So if you could change one thing about how the community views public transportation, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think maybe some of it would be the misnomers about us. A lot of people think we're for only older citizens or only people with disabilities or only low income. And in reality, that's just not the case. Anyone can ride with Axe. They can pay the fare themselves. But 98% of our passengers do qualify for a reduced sponsorship, so they can ride for $1 or $2. But also that we have, very caring staff. It takes a whole lot to make the bus wheels go around every day, and everybody really comes to work with, integrity and kindness and empathy in their hearts. Whether it's, our maintenance department, our drivers, customer service, dispatch, all of, everyone, we really want to meet the needs of our community where we live. And, we don't want to say no. When we can't accommodate someone's request, oftentimes it's the regulations that sponsor that person's trip is why we can't do it. So it's not that we don't want to do it. It's that we can't do it maybe for free because it just doesn't qualify for that sponsor. And then, a lot of people don't realize most of us at Mercer Street, our own families ride Axe. My 11-year-old daughter, we pick her up from school 3 days a week, and we take her to Hoyt after school program. It's a wonderful program. People in the office, their children, grandchildren, mothers, a lot of people ride. So, and they all ride under the same publicly funded programs and rules and that everybody else does. So there's no special services because they're our family, but that's how much we believe in what we do.
So for people that maybe aren't super familiar with Axe, could you explain how it is that Axe makes a difference in the lives of Lawrence County residents?
Well, mobility is always a challenge. If you think about it right now, if you have a car parked outside and all of a sudden it was gone, whether it be you can't afford to have that car or, you have a physical disability and your car's not adaptable, whatever it might be, now you're vulnerable and, you might feel trapped at home or, so the Axe bus service, it gives people the opportunity to be a part of their community. We take many people to work, school, social outings, the senior center, of course, the doctors and pharmacy, but we hope are making a difference in getting people out and about in the world. And then also our drivers, love our passengers and vice versa. So we like to think not only are we that ride from A to B, but that, it's a fun ride or it's a caring ride while they're on board.
And it definitely is, because we've had a lot of people from Axe Transportation that have come on to the show that say the same thing, they enjoy seeing their passengers, and their passengers enjoy seeing them too. Sometimes it's the only person that they get to talk to or see in a day. And then, you all are taking them to where they need to go to have a nice, enjoyable afternoon, whether it's at the doctor's or challenges options in aging or out to eat. You guys do so much more than just transport.
Well, and it's funny you say that, or ironic you say that. Like our customer service reps, they're wonderful ladies. And we have some of our passengers who just call in and, they're calling to, quote, check on their trips. But we know that they're calling because they just want to say hi, and they consider those ladies their friends. And so we get cards. We get cards and letters from our passengers, basically at all holidays. We've had bagels delivered from a very nice couple that both ride with us. So, it feels good to be part of the whole crew.
Speaking of feeling good, you've been able to watch ACTS evolve over the last 2 decades and see how it's gone from Grant Street to Mercer Street now, and then potentially Frumill campus, which is in works. So how has it been being part of that evolution process?
Well, one thing about LCAP and ACTS, I always say, is the only thing that doesn't change is we're going to change. And honestly, I love that about the agency. When I did not work here those 10 years, that's really what I missed. And I'm going off topic, but the old mantra of, well, that's the way we've always done it. And, we have to solve new problems with old solutions. Like that type of mentality just isn't challenging, isn't fun. And I can say that LCAP and ACTS is challenging and it's fun at the same time. In the past even decade, we've not just expanded the number of trips, we've expanded, now we serve all of Lawrence County Monday through Friday. We go out of county into all of our neighboring PA counties. We have more buses and drivers than we ever have. And, we really have grown this team family atmosphere where, we truly care about each other. And it does show, to our passengers, I think. But we also have a lot of tenure that's helped make all of that happen. For example, I was doing a little math earlier today. Our 13 office/maintenance staff have over 158 years of service at this agency together.
Wow. Oh, wow.
That's an average of 12 years each. And then of our drivers, right now we have 28 drivers. Keisha, who I know was on the show, she's our most senior, 26th year she's on. But just over the last decade or two, the driver retention has gone way up because people want to come and work and want to be part of caring for the community and doing what we do. So I think all of that. And then PennDOT too. We're very fortunate. PennDOT purchases for us all of our vehicles, all of our technology. In the last couple of years, we've been able to add on like text messaging to let passengers know the driver's almost there. We do automated calls to let them know, reminder trips for tomorrow you have a trip, so you get a reminder call or an on-the-way reminder call. You can now schedule your own trips online, and you can also apply for ACTS discounted fare programs online. So a whole lot has changed, I think, around ACTS and then also within ACTS that's made it what it is now.
So going back just a little bit, you said about like your driver retention and like the staff has been there for a long time. I think a lot of that also, not only is it just a great agency to work for, like we're doing good things, but also having a good manager makes a very large difference. So what would you say your management philosophy is, and how did you grow to become such a strong supervisor that you are today?
I was going to say the same thing because you really are. And everybody always talks about how amazing you are.
Well, thank you, ladies. You're very kind. Well, I think, over the years, my management style has definitely changed. I think when I was a newer manager, and I think a lot of newer managers might think this way, like you have to be the authoritarian, you have to be the expert on all things, and, you have to be the end all be all, And life has a way of humbling you and making you realize that that is not the best way to manage and for yourself and your team. So I really view myself as kind of the coach, the cheerleader, and the water boy. And I'm really not a sports fan, so I don't know why I came up with those. But anyway, the coach in that, trying to keep the team moving in the right direction, together, towards the goal. Cheerleader in that, we have to celebrate our successes. And when things don't go well, we kind of have to regroup and move together. And then the water boy, because I need to bring them what they need, whether it's water, training, an ear, a shoulder, whatever. I joke now that I use my social work degree with my staff, and meaning that if they're having a personal issue or a work issue, they'll come to me and we'll talk about it privately, and I do my best to help. But so that's kind of my management philosophy. And if I could maybe give advice for a new manager, if you come into an established team, trust your staff. If they've been doing the job before you got there, they're going to know their jobs better than you do, and it's fine to say that. You don't have to pretend to know things you don't know. Also, sometimes the best use of your authority is just not to use it. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. And what I mean by that is, sometimes I have one of my, say, drivers, they had maybe a bad day on the road, and they come to me kind of passionate, meaning I can tell they're upset. And as long as they're not, being insulting or, of course, swearing or anything like that, I'm going to listen to them, even if they do have their voice raised, because they care. And, staff who care about their job, I mean, that's a treasure. That's not a problem. And, some, like a new staff might feel that's disrespectful. But in reality, I want to hear, what are their challenges? Do we maybe have issues in our procedures? Are we expecting them to do things that just aren't realistic? Have we not trained them enough? So I guess to sum it all up is, when things aren't going well with your team, look inward. What have I done to prevent this? What am I doing to correct it? And if you can't really come to a conclusion, then to sit with your team and say, how do we do this better? And that's really all you can do.
I think that's some great advice.
Yes, very much so. And I like the fact that you go around too, that you mentioned earlier, and you say good morning and hello to everybody each day. That's something so special and so simple that people should do. So I really like that you do that.
And just to add to that, I also think that you do a good job of also always making sure that you're not only the teacher, but also the student at times. So you go out of your way to join different organizations, to hear about different things that might be going on in transportation departments. So that's also another thing that you bring to the ACTS Transportation Department.
Thank you very much, ladies.
So what trends, Vanessa, or innovations are you most excited about in the next 5 to 10 years in transportation?
Well, I think in general, AI. Even at Mercer Street, we joke all the time about I GPT'd it, meaning we've used ChatGPT. And I know AI really hasn't gone into the transportation or public transportation industry that touches me just yet. I'm sure it has, globally. But I really am excited about that. And I really think that it can help automate some things and really help us all do our jobs easier, better, smoother, etc.
As you reflect on your career here, can you think back at a moment earlier on that made you realize what you're doing is making a difference in the community?
Well, one of my top, I guess, things I'll always be proud of, or career highlights, maybe that's the way to say it, would be during COVID, the Temporary Emergency Assistance Through Meals program, or TEAM program. That was just an amazing program to be part of. I could talk about it for hours, but just a quick highlight. It was March 2020. Everything was closing down. A lot of ACTS passengers are, older citizens or may have disabilities. And ACTS drivers came to me and said, what about so-and-so? What about so-and-so? Like, we know they don't have any family in town, and we know if they can't, go to the grocery store, how are they going to have food? And they were right. So, This is just a testament to, our CEO, Tom, and Jen Elliott, and to the other directors here at LCAP. I went to them, and within a week, we had the team program going. And, Lynn Henry, Michelle Scott, they had church groups coming in to volunteer to help pack food bags. We had donations of food. It's just amazing how quickly it all came together. And I think it was by April, we were feeding like 500 people a week. I mean, it was an astronomical number. And then it did start to, come down a bit as things started to reopen. But to just be part of something so big and so powerful, and I don't have the right words, at a time when the whole world was scared and closing down, was just something I'll never forget and I'll always be proud of.
It really made an impact on a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people still bring it up to this day about how amazing, that program was, and how it helped them during, like you said, a very scary time for all of us. That was something that nobody's ever experienced before.
And I know it's very special to my staff that were here and are still here to be part of that. So you'll probably hear that again as you interview others.
So Vanessa, as an active listener, you know what the next question is that I'm going to ask. And that is, once you are done here at LCAP, what are you hoping that your legacy is that you will leave?
I guess my legacy that I hope I leave is that, like, now are the good old days. And what I mean by that is, growing up in this area, I went to Nika High. You always heard about the good old days, the good old days of Newcastle, or different stores, or just different things. And I truly feel like right now is the good old days for ACTS. We have such a strong team. We're growing, we're moving. I probably drive my team crazy because we're always, doing something new. But I really feel like these are the good old days. In the future, I don't know that we'll ever have a time that will have this much tenure at Mercer Street. So, I guess in summary is that the legacy would be that this is the time period, not necessarily today, but maybe this decade, when, ACTS really grew up and things changed and moved forward. And in the future, when we're retired in the nursing home or riding ACTS ourselves, that we'll reference these days.
Awesome. And speaking of the future, did you want to talk about anything as far as the progress with Fruit Milk goes, or do you want to leave that for a later episode?
Sure, I can definitely touch on that. So ACTS is in conversations with PennDOT, Bureau of Public Transportation, about the potential for a new facility. I mentioned earlier that PennDOT does buy our buses and all of our technology, so it's not out of turn that we would be having this conversation with them. But right now we're in the design phase, which means we're talking like scope of the buildings, what's needed, to keep in budget. But the goal is within the next couple of years, there would be a large pool building structure out at Fruit Mill in the big empty parking lot that all of the ACTS buses could park indoors out of the elements. And then there would be a shop, to fix our vehicles. Joe Zingaro was on last week. He fixes all of our vehicles, so he would have a shop. And then there would be an attached building for our customer service reps, dispatch, driver's room, and managers. So looking forward to that. We've really outgrown our current facility and hope it comes, sooner than later.
Absolutely. Some exciting things to come in the future. So as we wrap up our personal round, we're going to go ahead and make our way to the quick fire round. And how that works is we're going to ask you a series of questions and you'll just answer with whatever comes to your mind first. So, Kim?
Sure. Vanessa, what is one word or phrase that describes your work vibe?
That's a difficult one. My own work vibe or the group of us?
It could be either one. If you want to do the group of you, that's a good one.
I jokingly say we put the fun in dysfunctional, meaning that we're always coming across challenges. Like Joe said last week, we hope we make it look really easy, but it's not. And so behind the scenes, we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off sometimes. But so, yeah, I would say that.
But you do it all together and support one another, and that's what it takes.
That's right.
So, Vanessa, who would you say is your hero or someone that you've always looked up to?
Well, it would definitely have to be my mom. She's been there, obviously, since the day I was born, and she's really taught me my work ethic. I joke with her that, she raised me where you go to school or you go to work unless, you literally cannot. And she's just always been so kind and, my biggest cheerleader. And then, of course, she and my daughter, Evelyn, have, they're thick as thieves. They have the coolest relationship. And I couldn't do my job and put in the hours I do if it weren't for my mom helping with my daughter. And then I know you asked for one hero, but my husband as well. He's such a good dad, and his support allows me to really have the best of both worlds. I get a career that I love. I get to be a mom. And I joke my two babies are Evelyn and Axe.
Very cute.
That's so cute. And your dog too. Yep,
Yes,
and your
Odin.
dog. Yes.
He's not my hero, though, but he is awfully cute.
Yeah, he's your other child too.
Well, that's very true.
And then let's see here. If your work life had a theme song, what would it be?
You guys asked that question of others, and I've thought, what would I say? And a theme song. Oh, I don't know. I guess I picture the movie with the bus that was a runaway bus, and Sandra Bullock was trying to steer the bus. This was an old movie. I don't know. Whatever that theme song was, I guess would be my theme song.
I liked when you said the wheels on the bus earlier. I thought that was super cute.
That could be too.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason I have Dolly Parton working 9 to 5 in my head, but
That's a good one too. Yeah.
But that's not true. I mean, we start at 3:45 in the morning. We're out till 9 p.m., 6-7 days a week. So we're definitely not 9 to 5, but I don't know.
Well, the wheels on the bus go round and round with you guys at ACT. So you make the community get around.
That's true.
So I know from my time over at Mercer Street that lunch was a very big deal.
Yes.
So what is your favorite local place to get lunch from?
Edwards would definitely be. Mangino's is more of my lunch takeout location, but Edwards is my lunch.
Yeah, we all love Ed's. That's a lot of people have said that too. That
Their
came on the
burgers,
show.
my
Yeah,
favorite.
Salad day.
Well, and
Burger
you're right.
night.
You're right about lunch. I mentioned our FICA meeting with operations. We decide then what we would like for lunch. And then Dawnetta, God love her, she makes sure that we're all fed because, one thing about us, if we're not fed, watch out, we get a little hangry. So keeps us moving.
And what do you like to do in your spare time, Vanessa?
Well, I don't have a lot of spare time. I guess everybody says that. Really spending time, with my family. Saturdays, really, my mom and my daughter and I, we call it gallivanting. We might, depending on the season, we might go to Pearson Park Pool and out to lunch. If it's the spring, we're going to the Amish to buy flowers. I guess that's kind of a hobby. I like to, do perennials and annuals outside of my home. And then Sundays is really, cleaning and resetting for the week and maybe Sunday dinner at my mom's. So I guess family is the theme.
And what is one item on your bucket list that you still need to check off?
Well, I would love to go to Europe. I'd also love to go to Hawaii. I guess I'm really not a travel person, but I love the beach and the sunshine, so that's why Hawaii. And then Europe, I am somewhat of a history buff, so to go and stand in places that people have stood for, thousands of years would just be awe-inspiring. But of course, I have two answers. Sorry.
To go with your two titles.
Yes.
Each title gets its own.
Yes, that's perfect.
Well, I am a Gemini. Not that I put much stock in
see,
that,
that's-
but two personalities, I guess.
You got to get to both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that at all. And if you could make one rule that everybody should follow, what would it be?
To stop when a school bus activates its red lights and its little stop sign comes out and its little stop arm comes out. I know it's a bus nerd comment, but so many people don't realize that they do have to stop even if they're not passing the school bus. Like if they're at an intersection and the school bus is stopped on the other road, you cannot go through that intersection. And that's something that people just don't seem to know. Or I guess the second thing, again, with my two answers, would be that the larger the vehicle, the longer and slower it takes to stop. So don't pull out in front of buses and things like that.
Yes, thanks for mentioning that, because maybe some people don't think about a larger vehicle takes, a little longer to stop. So thank you so much for sharing that so people could recognize that for, in the future.
And my last question, if you could drive any vehicle, what would it be?
Oh, geez. The funny thing is, I'm not a driver. Like I say all the time, like I only drive out of utility,
So you don't want to drive one of the Axe buses?
No, because if I wrecked it, I would never live it down. I guess maybe, and again, this is a nerdy answer, but I guess I wish I knew how to drive a school bus, but I don't want to get my CDL now. And like I said, they would never let me live it down, my school bus drivers, if I, nicked a stop sign or something like that.
And then it's almost time for the holiday parade. Are you at Axe? Is Axe going to be participating this year?
Of course, we will be there. We're going to go for fun this year. We have a very small budget. With the PA state budget and the federal budget, obviously we can't spend money on things like parades. So we're taking some donations for the candy we'll give out, and we all have some old holiday stuff at home. So we're just going to go for fun this year, and that's really what it's about, anyway.
Is there any particular theme this year?
Well, if I told you, then I'd have to.
I understand.
Yeah, Keisha and Chrissy would
I know
come
they
and get
like
me.
to keep that on lockdown, so I
You
wasn't
guys
sure
are
if you could
very
share that.
You guys
Oh,
are
my
very
goodness.
competitive over there.
Yes. And that's why Kim here, she does our LCAP, or she keeps track of our LCAP recycling challenge, which is great. And she sent an email out to everyone today that Mercer Street was in second place. And I had to respond, for my crew. And I was like, that's just because we haven't done our October weight. And I sent her pictures of how much plastic we have. It's insane.
It sure is. It's truly like an avalanche, like you said. I mean, there were so many. I'm going to send them on to Amber, and she's going to post them on social media so we could show the community just how much Axe truly recycles. I mean, the whole room, you could have filled up the whole room with the recycling materials that they just put together in the last probably couple months now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very competitive. And, our school bus drivers, our school bus monitors also bring stuff in. And, as new people are hired or they come back for the school year, we're like, don't forget your plastic. It's like on the orientation checklist.
Well, it's important. We're saving the earth. So I appreciate that very much. And I look forward to all the pictures that come through and really enjoy seeing the pictures that Axe has. So thank you.
Now, as we wrap up this episode, is there anything else that you would like to share or get off your chest before we end things?
Well, I would like to acknowledge these two beautiful ladies that are sitting here, both Janae and Amber. Although, I spent the whole half hour talking about Axe and a little bit school bus, I do have the privilege of working with our marketing ladies as well. I wish I could see them more. They're in a different building than me, but they do a fabulous job. And Janae said earlier about I'm willing or happy to be the student, and they definitely teach me things about marketing and communication. And I'm always happy to learn. And then I guess too, just I said it earlier, but a special thank you to Tom Scott, Jen Elliott, and then also our board of directors. they really do give myself and my team a lot of, I don't want to say leeway, but a lot of artistic
Creative freedom.
To grow and to be, what we are. So I really appreciate that. And I know that they trust us, and that makes me feel really good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us on the show today. I know it's been a while. We've been trying to get you on, so we're so happy that you've been able to come and tell us a little bit about yourself and your story and your time here with LCAP. And for anyone who wants to potentially ride with LCAP, how can they go about getting in touch with ACTS?
Well, 2 ways. You can call our ACTS customer service at 724-652-5588, or we have a beautiful new website. It's rideaxbus.org, and it's full of information about ACTS, how to sign up, where we go, all of it. So either one, we'd be happy to help, and give us a call or check us out.
All righty. Thank you again, Vanessa, for joining us on the show today. And thank you guys for all listening. And we'll be back next week with another special guest.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful rest of the week, everyone.